Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Nighttime Out. I'm your host Jess, and I'm here with my co-host Tima. So in our episode today, we'll be discussing about K-drama called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. So before we start, we want to give a trigger warning to our listeners. We'll be touching topics upon abuse and trauma. So if you're uncomfortable with this, we recommend you to check out our other fun episodes. And again, there will be spoilers about this drama. So if you want to watch this drama, you go watch it and then come back to our episode, right? I think we should start with a summary about our drama so you would get to know about the characters we're focusing on. The drama opens up with Moon Gang-tae, which lives with his autistic brother, Moon Sang-tae. So ever since Sang-tae witnessed their mother's when he was a teen, they had to frequently move from town to town. So every place they settle in, Gang-tae always works as a caretaker in the psychiatric ward. So while working in the hospital, he meets a beautiful, famous children's book writer called Ko Moon-young, which is also rumored to have antisocial personality disorder. So as the story progresses, Gang-tae ends up working at the psychiatric hospital in their hometown. Meanwhile, Ko Moon-young forms a romantic obsession from Gang-tae because she finds out they have a shared childhood experiences, So she follows him back to the hometown, and then all the three characters meet and they work through their emotional trauma. They uncover many different secrets about their past, and they're able to learn from one another and heal from one another, and they move on with their lives. So the drama actually talks about like a lot of overcoming traumatic experiences, dealing with mental health problems, toxic parenting, friendship, and even forgiveness. So it's a really nice drama that we recommend you to watch if you have time. So I think we should start out in why did we choose this drama, like specifically. So personally, I think the drama shows the flaws of each character. So they kind of experience a lot of childhood trauma, and they kind of show it as the episodes go on. They show like how they overcome it, and there are many scenes that I could relate and empathize with the character. So it was I cried a lot, but I also smiled a lot with a lot of the episodes. So I think the writer did a really excellent job in expressing those like struggles in each character. So I really love the character. I really love this drama, and it's one of my favorite dramas. So what about you, Tima? Why do you like it though?
I think it's just a slice of life kind of drama with a mixture of comedy, romance, awesome songs, and it just has a really good depiction of mental health in general. You know how in some stories when people try to show mental health, they show it in extreme manner where either they are shown as a violent person or they're shown as people who do not have their story. They're shown as a mental health itself rather than as a person. But in here, you see the relationship between the patients with each other,
Yeah.
the relationship with the nurse, the doctors working there, and also the love story that blooms within themselves as well. So this kind of makes you feel like, okay, yeah, they're kind of human being like us. They do have their own struggles here and there, definitely, and the movie had shown extremes on some end, but it is not to the point that, okay, this person is violent, I must be staying away from this person kind of thing. So I think that it's a really good depiction, and you could see that some of the people who actually really need help are going outside and all. So it's just a good mixture there. So that's why I really enjoyed the drama. There is a lot of waves of good energy, bad energy, but I like riding this wave, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Like if you see like mentally mentally ill people on like other shows or movies or whatnot. They're kind of like portrayed as crazy and like unstable, but here, yeah, they do show them as like more human, and how like they can even have a really successful career. Like Komu Young, for example, she like succeeded as like a really famous like children book author. Like, so I was like, yeah, that was one of my favorite parts too. And also the clothes, like her wardrobe, her fashion, like, yeah, I was so obsessed with it, man. It's so good. So there are many parts of the drama that we kind of related. So is there any specific like parts in the storyline that you can relate yourself?
I mean, in parts, I think it's the whole journey, because as the name itself tells, it's okay to not be okay. So it talks about emotions, it talks about mental health, and it is a part of life that we cannot ignore or cannot escape, to be honest.
I agree.
And I think this whole managing emotion, the character growth from large characters to minor characters, I think that is what I really related the most to. And I think if I were to be even more specific here, one of the things that I related to the most was learning how to open up to people and trust people and depend on someone. Because Common Young here was such a hard shell. She always thought herself to be, she always thought herself to be a sociopath, a person who cannot open up to people. And that was, yeah, that was what Gangte thought of himself as well. He thought that he only has his brother, and he didn't even open up to his own closest friend. So he didn't open up to Nayuri, or someone that this, what is this? The second lead. Yeah, another side character as well. So he didn't open it up to a lot of friends. So I think I was kind of that way. Yeah. Now I'm a very expressive person. I express gratitude and everything very openly. So I'm pretty sure that my friend would be like, "What? You're a hard sell now? How? No, like that." But I think previously, like how the drama began, I was also like, yeah, when I was younger, I did not had a very strong, I would say, circle of friends, circle of close friends. That's what I at least felt. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. So I felt that I did not have that strong circle. So it was changing every year, and that's the time I felt like, oh, what is the point of me trying to be close with you now, when the next year we're not gonna be even talking anymore. So that's how I perceived friendships back then, and any relationships. So I think that's what made me difficult to open up to people and learn. And yeah, and there is another
Yeah.
different part of self-esteem right there. We shall leave it there for now. It's gonna be a future topic somewhere down the line. But yeah, for me, I think that was something when I watched the characters grow and open up and share their journey or share their pain together. Oh yes, that's it. That's it. I'm rooting for you. How about you? What did you relate it to the most?
For me specifically, the drama kind of like showed a lot of scenes of the characters changing themselves, as in they are possible for change and development. So I think, since you mentioned quite a bit, like a lot of the like Komun Young learns how to forgive, how to accept people, and Gangtae learns how to let go of his emotions and not attach himself to what his mother told him, that you are only here because you are here to take care of your brother. And for me, I think that there was instances in my life that my parents did impose those type of beliefs as well, but not as, you should be, a doctor or something. It should be, they kind of like impose me to compare myself to my siblings, because my siblings, they were considered quote unquote geniuses, right? They were much better in education, and they got number ones and all these like awards, and I was kind of average student. So I think my parents did a lot of comparing to me and my brothers and sisters. So there were a lot of scenes where in the drama they kind of like, the parents kind of, controlled them and told them who they are, how they're supposed to be. Like Ko Moon Young's mom told her that she's a monster, and I kind of like, even though it wasn't it was a like extreme version like in the drama, but for me I kind of related in a way, because I could see how my parents could be that way in imposing their beliefs and ideals, and how I should be as a person, or how I should live upon, the standards of my sisters and my brothers, like education levels, and get all these awards. And yeah. So that's kind of how I related to the drama. And I think we mentioned quite a lot of like scenes that was very memorable. And do you have any particular scenes that you want to mention?
Okay, for me personally, I find perception to be a very interesting concept, and how our memory, our behavior, and everything is aligned to it. And one part that I wanted to highlight here is Kang Tae is a person who used to really hide his feelings, and that's why he doesn't cry or doesn't express himself when he is awake, but subconsciously it's still there. The pain is still there, the hurt from the childhood is still there. And there are instances where he used to cry in his sleep, and his brother heard it once, and he approached Kang Tae and said, you were crying in your sleep last night. And because he didn't want to burden his brother, he again put that mask on and said, "Oh, but no, I wasn't crying, nothing happened." But there was this really good line that the brother said, "You can't hide the pain that's in your heart, because it will overflow and will be expressed in a different way." And for Gangte, it was expressed in, when he was sleeping through tears. And there are certain individuals I know who express it in outbursts, especially when they don't know how to manage their emotion. There are certain people who express it when exercising. There are some people who lash it out. So there are different ways of expressing this. And that time, one of the thing I noticed was Gangte's perception of things. And later on in the episode, what happened was Gangte always thought that his mom didn't love him. That she always just thought of him as an assistant to take care of the brother. But in one of the episodes, they revealed that like some of his memories from the past were actually false and were just a result of his own perception. Like one instance, there is a memory where he and his mom and his brother were coming out of a restaurant, and it was raining. And the mom and the brother walked in front with the umbrella, but Gangte was behind, drenched in the rain. And he only remembered until that part only, where his mom and brother left him alone and no one cared for him. But as we progressed through the episode and as he started healing a bit more, expressing himself a bit more, then further part of his memory came into the light. And that time when he thought back again, then he recalled that in that scene where his parents, where his mom and his brother actually walked in the rain in the umbrella, leaving him alone behind. Few minutes or few seconds later, they actually stopped and turned around and said, Gangte, what are you doing? Come, you'll catch a cold. Why are you standing in the rain? And that was really a very emotional part, because that was one of those instances where it showed that his mom actually did care for him. And it was just a very wholesome moment when he himself realized that. And it could tell us a lot of our perception and emotion. Sometimes things are hard and we tend to just stick to only one perception, like, okay, I'm angry, this is what I am, this is what I've always been, and this is what the world is always like. But if you take a pause, if you try to heal yourself and think about it, your memory may sometimes not be the most truest one. And in psychology, it is true that your memories are not completely true all the time. There is a theory on that, which unfortunately I didn't prepare for. So, and being a bad student, I don't recall the exact theories, but yes, you can check it out some, yeah, on your own as well. But there are studies done, and your perception emotion can really impact how you see the world, how you see your past, and how you see your future as well. So that is what I keep in mind nowadays. Let's say when I'm feeling a certain emotion, I'm like, is this the truest form? Is there a different perception to this? And it has helped me understand people in a way, and their objectives better, and form a better relationship. Because it's okay if
To not be okay?
no, 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 not this round, not this round, Jessica, not this round. It's okay. It's okay to have different perceptions. Just be more understanding of it. And I think you'll see life in a different light when you try to take that approach at times. It can be slightly daunting at times. Yes, you gotta know your limit until you know how far are you going to keep on exploring the perceptions. But uh, having this in mind is always great, even in workplace, even in your school life, just to understand people and improve relationships in general.
Mm, good scene. I did like that scene. That was a good point, actually. Yeah, a lot of us, we can just focus on one moment in life and not look the bigger picture, not see the bigger picture. And I think it can be really isolating. Some people can break down or just focus on that for their whole life and never realize the bigger picture and never live the life at the end.
Right.
Yeah. And well, for me, it's like there's a lot of scenes where it was a lot of scenes where I cried, very moving scenes. Like how when Komunyong finds out that her mother was her mother her mom was the one who the brother's mother, and she kind of breaks down and she didn't know how to cope with those emotions. And I cried so much in that scene because I feel really sorry for her, because she felt like it was her fault, even though it was not her fault at all. But she felt responsible for that. And even though, her mom did this terrible, terrible thing to the brothers, Sangtae still comes in and take cares of her and comfort her and forgive her. And it was very moving because it showed Ko Moon-young forgiveness, and she learns how to kind of rely on them and learn how to let people in. And you can see like how she becomes very accepting towards not accepting, like more loving, I guess, towards Sangtae, instead of always fighting with him, because previously she was always fighting with Sangtae for some reason. And there's a scene of where Ko Moon-young kind of experiences a sleep paralysis episode, and it was, oh my god, I think I practically screamed on this, like, seeing that scene, because I was like, it's me, it's so accurate. I experienced this so many times in my life, and I can't believe they showed it so accurately on screen. Because I don't think, I think in the recent years, like, mental health has been discussed a lot in social media, in our discussion in everyday life, especially like during the pandemic. Like, people has been talking about taking care of yourself, self-care and stuff. And now we kind of know what is sleep paralysis, but before I didn't know what it was. But I have experiences of sleep paralysis episodes so many times, and it's always similar like that. Like, for Ko Moon-young, she saw her psychotic mother, like, wanting to murder her and telling her all these terrible things, and she's just paralyzed on the bed, crying her eyes out, being terrified. And you can see afterwards how she's like shaking, and she's just broken. Like, she's just so afraid of that happening, even though it wasn't real. And that was so accurate, because I was like, I thought for the longest time, before knowing what it wasn't real. So, like, for like a drama to actually show that scene, it kind of like is validating in a way, because I was like, I experienced the same things, and I know like other people have experienced this before. But to see it in like a popular drama and on screen, it gave me a sense of like realness, that it happened. And it's not like something I imagined myself. It's not a hallucination, So that was a good scene to me. And yeah, I think that was all the scenes I really loved. So in the drama, there's actually a lot of scenes of toxic parenting, and how if it affected a lot on the characters, even as adults. So personally, do you think your childhood has affected your world? And do you still have qualities that your parents has instilled in you that has hindered your own growth as adults?
Oh, definitely. I think everyone's childhood will. Okay, I think now this is too much of a broad statement. Controversial. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that in some way, most of us, our childhood does affect how we believe the world to be. And definitely, I'm one of those. And yeah, like how I mentioned earlier, my parents were particularly very strict, and that's something I realized more when I was living alone, on how on how growing up with the strict parents, I tried to seek control over things because
Mm.
you already felt like, oh, you do not have sense of control over what you're studying, what you're doing, what you're wearing, how you're presenting, what you're watching. So that's why when I was by myself and when there was so many things to do as well, I still had that sense because you're kind of used to it.
Mm.
And that's when I started seeking things that I could control. And but it got out of control at what point because it was too much. So the point is balance, like the first episode. Yeah, whatever. Coming back to the main point. Yeah, so yes, seeking for that control in different things actually kind of affected my relationship with my teammates, I would say, because at certain point of my time, uh, I wanted to be in charge of everything, of every work that we're doing. And some of my teammates, they felt like I didn't trust them enough. But the larger picture there was, I, yeah, no, it was not about me not trusting them, but it was more towards me wanting to have that control over everything. So yeah, I did reduce that with every year and with every passing event, but I it was something that came to my self realization as I moved forward, and I think that was something that was rooted deep into my childhood on how you Asian parenting thing, you need to be successful to be the best, or you need to be the best to be successful. Yeah, that is the right word. What are some of the ways you see there, and what are the ways you relate to it?
Well, my parents were emotionally unavailable to me as a child because my dad was just working constantly, and my mom uh, was the one that managed our finances. But there was a lot of stress from that, and they didn't have time to even uh, talk to me. And I I kind of grew up. I mean, I had siblings, but I didn't grow up with my siblings. We had a big age gap, so I was practically alone majority of my childhood. Um, so since my parents were like occupied with like earning, the funds for my siblings, they didn't really talk to me or care emotionally. But it's also like, I wasn't like a difficult kid. Like I was kind of just a quiet kid that just listened and nodded and did everything that is told. And because of that, I did not have any deep conversations with my parents or have any deep connections with my parents. So I didn't know how to kind of express myself because I didn't have that conversation, so I didn't know how to express myself. So I think because of that, I think it did stump my growth of developing my own thoughts and my own feelings. So as an adult, I had to make a lot of effort to navigate my own personal thoughts and separating what is being told from me by my parents or people around me that has control on how I'm supposed to speak and feel and think. And because of that, I think it manifested in ways that I always suppress or undermine my own thoughts, and it definitely I definitely struggle with that. I had to do a lot of self exploration of my own beliefs, and discovering who I'm supposed to be instead of who I'm told I am. So yeah, that was one of the things that I struggled with. And yeah, so like, talk to your kids. Conclusion: talk to your kids, ask them how they're doing, because I think it can go a long way. So yeah, and the drama shows how like the character slowly changes their ways of how they deal with the emotions. So do you think you have any methods that you use now that you can better cope with those emotions?
I mean, I think everyone has their own ways, so my way may not work for you, but the general sense is I try to learn. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's like learning the learning. Because I feel like my whole life I've been conditioned to think of certain way, conditioned to behave in certain ways, and yeah, my perception has been kind of limited. That's what I feel. So I'm trying to learn things by saying no to myself. And please, by saying no to myself, it doesn't mean in a potentially dangerous situation, like just like jumping off the cliff, not those kind of things, but general decision making and how I want to, let's say, yeah, in just a very minor decision making. Okay, I'm a huge introvert, so I'm unlearning things by saying yes to going for gatherings sometimes, and do those kind of things. So it's your own ways, but that is something I have found helpful. And another thing that I have particularly found helpful is joining your area of interest, because that's when I felt the best. To be honest, my passion came out fully, and that's where my most of my growth happened. Because okay, and here's the thing: a lot of times people will be like, "But I don't have friend to do this. I don't have friend to do my passion with." And let me tell you a bit of secret there. If you don't have friends, still go for it, because when you're on the journey, you'll find people with similar objectives, similar passions there. And that's when you will find friends there and potentially a strong family. So go for it. And yeah, I think that is how I have found my strongest support system, people I love and things I love in all of those senses. Yeah, and it made life, I wouldn't say it made my life easier, but it made the life and the changes more bearable. So in a way, it has added value to my life, and of course helped me in exploring more of myself too. How about you? What do you do?
Mm. Well, I kind of want to add to yours a little bit, because I think you kind of mentioned that saying no to yourself, I think, is also, you don't want to live like in your comfort zone too much, right? You want to explore outside so you can meet new people, experience new experiences that you wouldn't think you would take.
Right, that's
Yeah,
correct.
and just go for it, right? You say go for it. And I don't know why it's just, like the is that Nike, the one with the, yeah,
Yes, Nike,
yes,
just do it.
just do it. Yes. uh,
Yeah, but yes, yeah, but this doesn't mean just go to something extreme and put your life at risk.
I,
This just means try healthy experiences, not the unhealthy
yes, I
ones.
think you
Yeah.
you mean like, challenge yourself, right? Because I think, yeah, because I
Yes,
think
yes. Hmm.
I agree. Like you grow if you experience challenges, in my opinion. If you live the easy life, I mean, it's comfortable, it's easy, obviously, but you don't get to grow. I feel like you need grit and pain and failures to learn and grow yourself, I feel. So on that note, for me, I kind of I think I do kind of keep all my thoughts and feelings inside, similar to Kangtae. So I kind of let it build up, and it'll start to bleed out in practically everything I do. And I notice it because I get irritated in like the most smallest things that, and it was just like snowball into destroying my my whole like self-confidence, self-worth. And if it gets, and if I don't keep it in check, it kind of like builds up into a depressive episode. And Dima can like vouch for this because I'll disappear for like a month or something.
Oh my God, we can't reach her anywhere. It's like Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, Insta. No, no, she is completely poof
Yeah.
gone.
So
Everything's
that's
gone.
what happens. Like I noticed this, it was like a cycle, especially like because of the pandemic. I was cooped up in my room every single day, and because of this, the thoughts build up, and I don't get to let it out. Because before the pandemic, I would have to. There were like, I would say, like distractions, because I get to go out, I get to see other sceneries and other things around me that can distract my mind from other things. But when
Hmm.
it was like during pandemic and you have to be at home constantly, you you kind of like get stuck in your own thoughts. So I kind of like noticed this like cycle of just like me building it up and then not letting it, and letting it consume me, and just and then it gets bad where I disappear for a month. So because of this, I have tried different ways of coping, such as doing something creative. So for me, I like to do nail art. Yeah, I like to do makeup. I even do book scrapping. So you know, because I like seeing colors. Colors makes me happy. So I just put a bunch of colors and it distracts my mind a little bit. It make me happy. It makes me happy. So doing those things does work to a certain extent, but I do find that the best way is just to talk it out with someone, someone I can trust, or a friend, or I haven't talked to a professional like a counselor or anything, but because I feel like I have gone to a point where I need it yet. We'll see in the future, but that's how I would cope these days. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I would
Yeah, I think. Hmm. Hmm. Yes, 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 yes.
I just want to ask, like, I think Tima, since like she has experience with
Hmm.
counseling, do you think you would recommend for people to go counseling?
I mean, there are different ways it would work for you. I mean, I would say personally, I would go because I have been on the both ends of the table, being a counselor and being a person who is counseled, and both are for me was a very drastically different experience when it comes to being vulnerable in front of people and everything. And my experience was kind of interesting. I mean, I didn't go to a professional, I would say. I was still going to those master students who were still practicing and who were still in training. So my experience may not represent all counselors, but I did enjoy the process whereby uh, it was easier for me to express it or be more truthful because it was a stranger. Because uh, we do have internal biases when it comes to this kind of matter. Because if it's with a friend, you'd there are instances where internally you may feel that you may be judged. So although it's not something that may come on top of your head, but these things are normal, and that's why usually in the counseling area as well, they wouldn't do counseling if you already have a personal relationship with the person, with the client. So yeah, that is one of the ethics of counseling. So that for me also, I did reflect on that, and it was slightly easier for me to open up to the person. But I don't know why, because maybe I was also getting a training on counseling. So I don't know if this is the right word or not, but I was being a judgmental on the counselor itself at times. There are times when I was like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. It's funny if I think about it now, but so sometimes I'm in the middle of tears, because I was really talking about all the things I had not expressed, and it was in a difficult point of the semester, so I was all tears in front of the student who was helping me with this, and uh, I could see her response, and at the same time I'm crying, but at the same time I'm like, I would have reacted differently. Maybe she should do something differently. So for me, I had that on the back of my head. So yeah, my brain did not stop then. But yeah, but one thing I need to tell you about counseling is I think I do go around a lot to practice as well. So just because one counselor doesn't work for you doesn't mean that no counselors will work,
Mm,
because everyone has their own strength. Even in our own little peer counselors group, we all have our own strength. And I'm pretty sure that in the vast professional world, there would be even more wider scope there. So don't lose hope. If one doesn't work for you, doesn't mean that the other one will also not
yeah.
work. Try it out if it's something you want to express it or vent out and want a very safe personal space. So they do really provide that. And yes, if the counselor is starting to hurt you, or yeah, something like that, one thing you need to recall is, yes, people in authority figure or people in professional line can also be wrong. It does not mean that they are always right. If it doesn't work for you, try with a different counselor. Yeah, this it's a hit and miss sometimes,
Mm,
I would say.
okay, interesting. Um,
Yeah. And one thing I want to add up as well is that, um, for me also, since I did mention control, I mentioned I do think a lot sometimes, and it actually at one point in my life I had this really bad imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome, generally, to those who don't know, means when you feel that you don't deserve what you are getting. Like,
Mm.
let's say if you get a promotion, internally you're like, oh, I am faking this and they are believing my lies. Oh my god, I don't deserve this. What if they suddenly find out that I'm not actually skilled enough or good enough? Yeah, so it's usually those kind of feeling. And I had that one point in my life and I couldn't sleep at all because I was like, oh my god, oh my god, they're gonna find out. Oh my god, I don't deserve this. But what I did was, I think that was the time where I really journaled a lot. And on those nights when I couldn't sleep because of all those negative thoughts in my head, writing it down actually helped a lot. So Fasikas expresses it more artistically. So for me, uh, artistic wise, I am quite behind on that. So I do express with words more, and that has actually helped me give a more peaceful sleep at night. And I hope if you haven't started that yet, just try it out. You don't even need a paper or something. You can just do it on your phone as well. I did it on my phone because I was so lazy to go there, turn on the light, grab a pen and paper. Yeah, I understand, guys. It's tiresome, especially when you have so much in your head. So it's okay. Just find the most convenient way. Just, if you have a tissue paper, roll of tissue paper behind you, just write on that. It's
Yeah.
okay. Because you just need a form of expression. Doesn't have to be in a concrete or in a perfect
Mm.
way. Okay? It doesn't have to be pretty. Healing is not pretty all the time. It's
Yes.
okay.
Tips from counselor Tima.
No, no, not a counselor. I'm not a
Peer
certified person.
counselor.
So, no, no, no. Yeah, yeah. I'm like on a training wheels.
I do agree though
Yeah.
on like counseling, journaling. Sorry, on journaling, because recently I've been writing out my thoughts on my phone as well, and it's actually very like zen. You feel like very comforting and very calm for some reason. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I think I'm gonna keep doing it. Uh, I'll update you guys on how I'm feeling at the end of the month or something. But I think we kind of mentioned like confiding with someone, that we trust in, and finding a good support system for you. Like, do you have any tips on finding that support system? Because I think a lot of people are struggling to find a person they trust or group they can relate to. Do you have any tips for that?
I think for me, I found, like what I mentioned earlier, I
Okay.
found friend and support when I started doing the things I like. And like, I love doing a lot of volunteering activities, and I love doing a lot of um, watching K dramas and just chilling and watching, listening to K-pop. And I love psychology. And like, I met this through psychology class. Check out our first episode to see how we met. It is an interesting story. And
Yes.
yeah, I met this. See, and now you see 5 years down the line where we are. She has been one of my largest support in ranting things out, especially like, oh my god, why is everything
I'm
like this?
honored.
Okay. I don't know how to react suddenly. All right. But yeah, I'm always grateful for you and my other friend also, who are always there to hear my rants throughout the uni, throughout after uni as well. That's so. And I think in every aspects where I join, I always find that support system. And I try to open to people about my experience as well, because sometimes you need to be the first person to step up so that the other also feel okay or comfortable to open up. And yeah, I have had, I think that's how I found my support system. And yeah, and recently as well, it's very funny because I started joining this small volunteering group in my place. And surprisingly, the person that I'm working with is also my colleague. So I could she could relate to me more, about after work how tiring it can be, and how in the work also itself also it is more relatable. So I find it very wholesome there. So there would be a lot of coincidences like this. So that's what I'm saying. Just go ahead. You will find people along the way, and those will become your largest
Mm.
support system. And how about, what are the tips that are under your sleeve?
uh, well, firstly, I agree in what you said. Like, just if you don't have a friend, I think you just go to a random event or even like now, since we're in pandemic, you can find a lot of people on social media, and you can find a lot of comfort from that. There's a lot of support groups on Facebook, on even Twitter. You can still find people that you can talk to, and surprisingly, they're actually pretty nice. So give that a try. Yeah, give that a try.
Mm.
And again, don't be afraid to open up. I mean, they're gonna be a few trolls and unpleasant people there,
Mm.
but I think you should give it out and just keep trying, because you will meet people that you can be friends with.
It's very funny. I actually met one of my good K-pop friend through Facebook. And I remember at that one certain point of our life, we were quite open about our family dynamics and the relationship that we share with our own family. And at that point, I think we had not met at all, but we still could share that bond through online. And later we met, and I'm still in touch with some of them. And yeah, it's weird when you start getting yourself out there. It's weird how you meet different kind of
Yeah.
people. So yeah, just go for it, girls and boys. Sorry, my bad. Mhm.
So another tip is maybe get on Tinder. So okay, I have the story of this friend that I met on Tinder, and we matched because we both liked K-pop. We both like Blackpink specifically. So we just matched, and we just talked about K-pop and Blackpink and how much we like the music, and now we're friends on Instagram. And turns out like she's actually our junior from the same university actually. So yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, you're from that university? It's like, yeah, I'm from that university. But yeah, she's like I think she's on her second year, I think. So yeah.
Oh, girl going through all
I
this
know.
big
Yeah.
jump. Uh-huh.
But she's really nice. So, if you can't find anyone on Facebook, maybe go on Tinder, because you literally can have a conversation one-on-one on with that person. Yeah. So who knows, you might meet someone you can relate to and talk to. So yeah, maybe try that.
Yeah, so there are a lot of unconventional ways of doing things. And yeah, let me try Tinder someday. I've never tried Tinder,
Mm-hmm.
but let me try it. But I just hope that I won't break some poor girl's heart.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, let me try that one day, and I'll share that experience hopefully.
And
And
I'll share mine.
yeah, with that,
Maybe in the future episode, I have some interesting stories.
Okay. Hint, 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 hint.
We'll see.
All
Yeah.
right. Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this session already. And I don't know about you, but I did really enjoy talking about this drama. It's been very long since we last watched this, and the memory is still there. And yeah, I just felt it was more of a spiritual journey. Oh,
Wow.
is it a correct word? Spiritual?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
would say spirit, slightly spiritual. Thinking about life, thinking about childhood, thinking about perception. And I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have. And just to end this, the drama has touched on a lot of aspects about slices of life and about people. And I hope that if you have the chance that you'd watch it as well to reflect on your own journey as well. And they usually say that life is like a wave, it would not be a straight journey. And I hope that although it is a wave, you would have that support and you would enjoy life to the fullest in every corner of that way. And with that, we'd like to end this episode here. Please do like and subscribe, and do listen to some of our older episodes if you want to know us better, and subscribe to check out our future episodes. With that, I would like to wish you good night. Take care. Sayonara. Bye bye.